e-discovery Leaders Live, where I get the chance to chat with luminaries in e-discovery and related areas.
Welcome to eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. I am George Socha, Senior Vice President of Brand Awareness at Reveal. Each Friday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, I host an episode of eDiscovery Leaders Live where I get the chance to chat with luminaries in eDiscovery and related areas. Past episodes are available on the Reveal website. Go to revealdata.com, select Resources, then select eDiscovery Leaders Live. This week, I am going to be joined by a sea of blue. We are bringing on the largest number of guests we've had at any one time. Several of the folks from our data science team at Reveal, starting with Dr. Irina Matveeva, who heads up the team. Irina is our chief data scientist and head of machine learning at Reveal. She has she is also an adjunct professor at the Illinois Institute of Technology. Why that's important here, you'll hear in a moment, with a PhD from the University of Chicago. Irina is joined by Isha Chopra, and Isha is a senior data scientist and team lead who has, remember I said that was going to be important, an MS in computer science from the Illinois Institute of Technology. We're also joined by Dinesh, my apologies, Karamchandani, I think is the correct pronunciation. Dinesh is a data scientist, also with an MS in computer science from IIT. And then finally, we are joined by Paul Jakovic, who is a senior principal architect. And along with me, he does not have a degree or anything to do with IIT. Rather, he has a BS in computer science from Rice University in Houston. So, Irina, Isha, Dinesh, Paul, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's Data Science Day today, and in particular, what's it like to be a data scientist? So I'd like each of you to talk a little bit about your careers at Reveal, and I'll let you know who wins, so you don't all try to jump in. But when you joined, in what capacity, and how things have developed from there. And Irina, let's start with you.
Well, thank you. I joined now many years ago as a head of machine learning, and it's been a very exciting journey, I would say. And one of the things I've been enjoying most is, well, it's been a couple of things really. But one aspect is growing with the team. Like today, this is part of the conversation we're going to be having. And growing the team, growing with the team, collaborating with very exciting people. Another aspect I'm truly enjoying is the variety of technology we have been working on and have been exposed to. And also, I personally really like that we are working on a product. It's very tangible. So the outcome and output of what we're doing is very tangible. We're placing it into the hands of our clients. Clients are using that. It improves their professional lives, hopefully, like day by day. It's very rewarding. I really like that aspect as well. So this is a really, for me personally, kind of a great intersection of data science, some, research aspect, but also very practical and delivering something which we just said, like it's very tangible.
Isha, how about you?
Thanks, George. Yes, so I started my journey with Reveal as an intern. Did my master's in computer science, had a few years of software development and experience, and that's when I joined Reveal. It's been a great learning experience. The team has been growing. There have been some very good projects we've been working on of late. And as Irina mentioned, there's a lot of collaboration across teams. So you get to learn not just about your workings day to day, but you also get to interact with other members of the company, which is amazing. And I think one of the kind of what I really find interesting is a lot of growth opportunities within Reveal, and we're getting to work on real world projects. So that's very challenging yet exciting. So you look up to, going to office and work every day to solve some really interesting problems. So that's what I find really interesting about working as a data scientist at Reveal.
And Dinesh?
Thank you, George. So even as Isha mentioned, I have a similar story to Isha. Also had a background in development and testing, and I joined Reveal as an intern, and it has been a really rewarding journey. I think I was one of those resources over here who had a really focused intention of working on quality, and I've been doing that, and seeing those results out in the open, out in our product, is something that has been really, really rewarding for me right now. um, and as I think everyone has echoed right now, the variety of projects that we work in, the research that goes into that, and looking that from a user perspective as well as a data science perspective, is something that's very unique over here.
And finally, Paul.
Let's see. I joined, I guess, almost 15 years ago, back when the company fit around a single table. And I was asked to make our machine learning faster. And lots of times I get asked, why did I stick around so long? And, I've been at companies that had strong developers and no domain knowledge, and they failed pretty fast. I've been at companies that had lots of domain knowledge and weak developers. They got a lot further, but still had all kinds of problems. Here we have both the domain knowledge and the strong developers. And that means we get to solve real problems, make real impact to customers' lives, and that just makes software much more fun to work on. Having real results that really affect people and make people happier. That's everything I could ask for in software development.
So several of you have mentioned in one way or another, one of the benefits of being part of this team at this organization is working on building actual real product. Anyone care to elaborate? Let's see who jumps in first.
Well, so this is actually, I think just even the background of the team members, I think kind of showcases what it means, right? So we have some research background, master's degrees with the focus in natural language processing, machine learning, data mining, but also very strong engineering skills. So this is really this kind of combination, which makes it makes it actually possible to create products which work well and, as Paul mentioned, efficiently. So then, it's kind of very practically they create very good user experience for our clients. And so then, for me, the way I see it is that it's just like taking a technology which, say, we know exists maybe from the academic research, from related industries, from our previous experience, and putting it to the product, right? It's a process. It's almost like every project is almost like a startup. You have to research, you have to come up with an idea, prototype it, and some things will not work out, but some things will. But you always need to adjust it, adapt it, tune it to the particular needs of our industry, of our clients. So I think I personally have been enjoying this aspect, and I know many of the team members, everybody has their own viewpoint, everybody has their own kind of strengths and area of expertise almost. So that's kind of putting it all together, all kind of minds together to figure out and solve these challenges. I think it's exciting, right? It's making this amazing notion of artificial intelligence, machine learning kind of technology, but actually solving problems, as Dinesh pointed out, solving problems with that. I think it's been very exciting. And for me, that's speaking for myself.
Let's take that a little bit farther, and you do, and this Isha, Dinesh, Paul, you do, each of you have areas where you tend to spend more of your time, at least as I understand. Dinesh, let's start with you and some of the things that you focus on in particular.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I've been really focused on quality. So one aspect of it is checking at every release how our quality has improved, whether it's not degraded by much, and then the whole user experience of it as well. So working in a manner which the client would be experiencing the product is something that I've been also looking at. And which brings me to the point that when we do work as a client, you need to understand like the problems that the client have, which is where the model building aspect comes of it, and which has been like a very fun, rewarding process for me right now, looking at these very broad categories of problems and dividing them into smaller chunks, smaller pieces, and then working on them, using everyone's help to sort of gain a different perspective on how we can solve a particular problem. And I think that's what has been my focus here right now.
How about you, Paul? Where do you focus many of your energies?
I spend lots of time on concept search, clustering, document indexing, and search. Um, a lot of that, we try to support lots of foreign languages, so we're trying to come up with not just, one, handling those languages well, just finding the right words, but also trying to find meaningful phrases, because more meaningful features then helps the data science side come up with better results. So that's where I spend lots of my time. Some of it's working with a vendor who's an expert in foreign languages or non-English languages and trying to take what they have and get that to work with our software and get that to work well and work fast. That a lot of that becomes very challenging.
And Isha, how about you?
Yes, I think over the years I've moved from different parts of the product. So I think initial years of my experience were mostly building and adding to the backend modules of the artificial intelligence part of the product, building a lot of the NLP pipeline modules, and then moving into the machine learning part of it. And of late, I think I've been focusing a lot on AI model building for client solutions, working around certain real use cases, thinking through how we can offer better solutions using the existing product and kind of optimizing and adding new features to it. So that's been quite interesting of late. So yeah, that's what I would say I've been focusing on of late.
So you all are members of our data science team, but you are not the entire data science team. There are others as well, folks with varying areas of expertise, differing degrees of experience, different professional paths. So how do you all work effectively with each other as a team? What do you learn from each other? Let's start this time with you, Paul.
Well, I mean, one of the great things about this company is that just the basic, we talk a lot. That we have meetings together, we share things. We have, regularly, we'll share, some of the team will share papers that we get to go over and discuss with each other, and just having conversations makes all the difference. That those casual conversations lead to eventually changes in our product that actually matter.
Isha, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I tend to agree to what Paul just mentioned. We do have a lot of cross-team collaboration, which I mentioned earlier as well. I think one real useful aspect of it is understanding what parts of the organization is working on what parts of the product and coming together and kind of building towards that one goal. So all in on AI. So that's really what kind of drives everybody to you know give the best towards the product. So I think we have like these regular sprint planning sessions. We have a lot of ideation sessions, a lot of cross-team discussions around what's next how to improve, what are some of the customer requirements, real world client problems. So all of that comes together to kind of make this product. Um, so that's my little input here.
And Dinesh?
I think most of the points are already covered, but it's the same thing. Um, we not only do get to sort of work with different people, we also try to understand their different perspectives. So when we do have these cross team ideation sessions, we get to hear a lot about the perspectives of different teams on how they think about data science or the machine learning or the AI aspect of it, and then trying to work their way to through that, and then that sort of also helps us understand more about our product, sort of incorporate those ideas into the product. And then some parts of it is also doing more researches, and then trying to get the best technology out of in the whole product, as a part of which I think the bird technology is one of those outcomes of those ideation sessions. Is like, why don't we have the best and the greatest out there? So yeah.
And then Irina, you've got the added challenge or opportunity of managing all of this. And I know I come from a law firm environment where infamously people say that it's getting lawyers to work together is like herding cats, and not very hard to do successfully. Are you in a better situation than that, or how does that work for you?
I think so. Yes, actually, I think so. Well, one of the things I think we all have learned either in our previous experiences, because many of the team members have pretty extensive previous work experience. So, like, including Dinesh and other team members leading projects, collaborating with teams. And I think that helps. And I think what we all kind of learn or just know is that it takes a team to accomplish bigger goals. Like all projects we've been working on are relatively large, complex and complicated. So you really don't want to work on them alone. So it's actually really great to have a team and different perspectives and help and collaboration. And then we can all accomplish it together much faster. So that's what we're trying to do. We really, coordinating and seeing who has the best set of skills for each particular part of the project and how we can bring it all together. And in the end, it's really nice that the individual pieces of the puzzle are coming together, and we have the whole thing, so to speak, the whole new feature in our platform, new modules, new capabilities, whatever that might be. And we've done it over kind of in many projects, and sometimes one set of team members starts the project, maybe does the kind of research prototyping part, and another team takes it over, and they're being critical in a good and a positive way, with constructive ideas, maybe questions, and then maybe get another step would be to see how it fits into the broader platform, what's the user experience, how that is perceived by the actual end users. So it's very helpful, and I think, as I said, it's um, we just know that that's really a very very good and productive way to accomplish it. It's really it's really teamwork. I can't stress it enough.
You don't just work with each other. You work with. We'll start with this. You work with other folks within Reveal. I mean, there are other development teams. There are salespeople. There are folks like me. I don't know what label you'll put on me. But how do you work most effectively with the likes of the rest of us? I don't know. Let's start this time, Dinesh, with you.
Um, I think the way that we work most effectively is just trying to have more conversations, trying to sort of understand where you are coming from, and where do you want those conversations to go to. So a lot of it is going and understanding like what exactly is the problem that we are trying to solve, and then going from that perspective onwards is how I think we go through this whole process of talking between cross teams, between vendors, and so on and so forth.
Isha?
Yeah, I think If I were to cite an example, I would say, for instance, we have outside of the data science team, we have the customer success team, we have the client support teams, we have the consulting team that help bring new projects into the product and then kind of, drive the initial onboarding of clients, and then along with the, of course, with the sales and customer success folks as well. And then eventually it gets into the core part of the AI is when we take over some parts of how certain, problems could be solved, what parts of the product should be used most effectively for that particular client or for that particular use case. So that's where I think we have a lot of cross-team collaboration. And then, of course, we have a lot of engineers working on scaling, making it, perform real time, and making sure that, it goes beyond that prototype or that standalone mode. So I think that's how I see a lot of my day-to-day kind of interaction with the other teams.
And I would like to point out, so Isha has like a really great experience. Like the reason she's kind of putting so much emphasis on that, because she's actually leading a number of partnerships we have with our clients.
You preempted me, so let's go ahead with that then.
Artificial intelligence. So this is why it's really collaborating, but also the like I said, like making it practically, right? Like what's possible in principle in terms of technology and how to solve the actual real world problems. That I kind of wanted to point that out.
So I'll come back to that in just a moment, because I've got a question for Isha in particular about that. But Paul, any thoughts first?
I guess partially because I've been with the company for so long, I know someone who's been in training for a long time I can reach out to when I'm, going to do something that's going to change what he has to teach, or I know people in support that I can reach out to when I'm changing things that they'll have to support. Right now I'm working on a team that's being pulled from several of our different products to really focus on one of our products to see if we can speed up how searches happen in that product. And so I'm meeting new people to talk to and new experts on different products that we have to try to bring all that expertise to bear on one area where we really want to make some improvements and strides moving forward. So it's all about these conversations and knowing people.
Isha, I'm going to circle back to you. I know that you've been very involved working on one particular initiative with a major law firm. Maybe not the time to talk about who that law firm is, but definitely time to tell me or tell the audience a little bit about what that's like, what that experience is like, how everyone benefits from.
Sure. I think it goes back to a few years ago when we started this collaboration with the client, just initial discussions about what is it that they're trying to solve as part of their real world use cases, trying to understand the problem and how Reveal can help them in particular to solve those problems using AI, artificial intelligence. So it really started with that, and then doing all these, multiple sessions of discussions, knowledge transfer, understanding the problem, how does it manifest over, different aspects of domain expertise, and how it can be made repeatable. And there are so many different parts of, like little pieces involved in making it like a full. I'd say like a full at-length AI project. But it has encompassed over so many years. And I think today it's more in the phase where it's been given to the actual users, to the clients, and now they're actually using it, trying to bring in more different types of data sets, different types of, kind of different challenges to make the project, the tool more better, and just making us work on optimizing it, understanding how else can we improve it and how else can we help users use it in a better way. So I think that's quite exciting, getting to learn real time. And as I said, it's been a long collaboration. So it's been a really learning, like a great learning experience for me personally. So
one of the
I just want.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So sorry, I would like to add to that. It's just like really a lot of what we do is listening,
yes.
right? I think Paul mentioned the domain expertise as a very important ingredient in the success of a machine learning AI project, and in many ways. So that's why kind of gaining that domain expertise from our clients, understanding what actually they're trying to solve, and seeing how we can match the technology to help them achieve that goal. I think that's, as I said, I think it's exciting. It's interesting. It's challenging. It's always something new. It's not always easy, but it makes it fun.
One of the challenges you all must face is in staying on top of the technology to better figure out both how to improve what we have and how to introduce new capabilities. I think of, for example, BERT and then MBERT and HPC. And if anyone's wondering what I'm talking about, go check out our past blogs. So we're not going to go into those technologies here, but rather, how do all of you stay on top of that? Who cares to jump in first?
I can sort of go. So I think for us, as I think Paul and even Isha have mentioned before, we have sessions where we do go in and discuss research papers, sort of stay on top on what's current as well as what's relevant to our field. So one of those one of the products of that was, as I mentioned earlier, was the bird and embed. But just staying on top hasn't helped. Just won't help us much, because what we have done is we have also married up that technology to what the users the e-discovery phase want to say on that. So understanding how to get better embed models or BERT models is also a part of that process. So it's not just staying on top of that technologies, but also really understanding what's going internally on that. So yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I think I'd like to add one of the, and this is to kind of, in addition to what Dinesh just mentioned about the latest technology being deep learning, I think one of our team members is working on understanding the nuances. Like, yes, it is amazing. It is, something like a buzzword these days, but then how do you incorporate the complexities of it and to kind of adapt it into our product. So that's again a very challenging problem to have, and it's a great learning for the team as well, because you're getting to learn in parallel, if not everybody, but at least most of the team is getting to learn how we can adapt that technology, understand what are the strengths of it, and how meaningfully can it be put into the product. So that's again what I feel is exciting.
And I think it's a little bit of also an example of us having kind of like this project was definitely like a startup within within our team, because we also had to work with the product very closely, understand, yes, this is an amazing technology, how can we put into the platform in the most meaningful way, right? So there's a lot of collaboration again with other parts of the system, definitely with people who are client facing and can give us very constructive feedback. So it took a couple of iterations to really understand how we can utilize it in the best possible way for our end users. And again, this is, I think, part of what we do, right? This is part of a little bit our job is to be involved in that process so we can really make something which is, a really great fit for our platform.
How do they get to be one of the people who does what you do? Isha and Dinesh, you came via internships. Paul, you've pretty much been here since the beginning, so that's a completely different path. How does someone get to where you all are? Irina, why don't you start with this?
Well, we have a very extensive internship program. So I definitely would like to make some advertisement for that. So whoever has very strong interest in natural language processing, machine learning in application to text, we would like to talk to those candidates. And yes, so kind of we're growing our team.
And then Isha and Dinesh, you are products of that process. Any words about that?
No, I agree with Irina. I think we have a very intense internship program, which is extensive because we get to talk to new potential candidates, get to see what are the different types of, new kind of, I would say, additions one can think of, because we're also growing our team, we're building our team, so it's amazing. It's I think it's a very exciting phase at Reveal right now, as I mentioned earlier as well. So yes, getting to explore, getting to talk to new colleagues, adding to our team, building the team is an experience in itself. So I would add to what Irina said. Yes, if we have anybody who's looking out for, working on real world problems, complex yet interesting and fun, a lot of cross team collaboration, a variety of projects. So Reveal is the place to look out for those kind of roles.
Great. Well, we have, I think, reached and passed the end of our time here. Thank you, all of you, for joining us today. Irina, Paul, Isha, Dinesh. Great to have you on here, and great to work with all of you every day as well. I am George Socha. This has been eDiscovery Leaders Live, hosted by ACEDS and sponsored by Reveal. Thank you all for joining us today, and please come back next Friday when we will have as our guest Eric Crawley of Epic. So, Irina, Paul, Isha, Dinesh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.